are here alive again, live. So this is my second time, but even though it's my second time, we're gonna act like it's my first. And I have the lovely Dr. Angel, right? Exactly, doctor. Like she got all the degrees, everything with it. So in case y'all don't know, I am Grace Love and I'm with My Safe Place. And Dr. Angel White's is remind me what yours is called again?
Hi everyone. I'm Dr. Angel White, and I am the host of Black Excellence in Healthcare White Coats and Real Talk podcast. So,
Amazing, amazing. So this today's prompt is something that is like near and dear to both of our hearts, right? And so I'm going to give you the real prompt that she came up with because mine was very color purple and y'all will find out later why. So today's prompt is why do many individuals in the Black community often ignore their mental health issues until it's a crisis? And for those who want to say that sounds too politically correct, let me play it back for you. Why do we keep acting like we can't tell nobody but God everything that has happened to us or that everything is a secret? And not just mental health, going to get any health checkups, period. We
mhm.
will wait. We are notorious for waiting until the last minute or being forced into going. And we're just going to talk about why exactly is that. Ew, it's 2025. It is 1995, not 1905. We got telehealth care and we are still using it as an excuse for not going to see the doctor. I don't know, doctor. Like, can you? I have my explanations, but what have you seen on your end? What stops
Okay.
people from going to get screenings?
Okay. So on my end, I'm actually a doctoral prepared family nurse practitioner. So on my end, as being a primary healthcare provider, a lot of us haven't broke those generational curses. I mean, we
Mm,
just haven't. A lot of us has been taught to tough it out, pray it
mm,
out, be
mm.
strong. What happens in this household stays in this
Stays in a
household. That's
household.
that's
That's
kind of like
terrible.
that's been like the black culture for a lot of us black people growing up. Even me growing up. You know,
Same, same.
stating that you feel like something is going on with your mental health or having a mental health issue or feeling depressed or anything like that was frowned upon in the black community. That was like, no, ain't nothing wrong with you. You need to get it together. You need to
You
get it
better go
together.
pray.
And
You're
you
not
better go
praying
pray.
enough.
Exactly.
Go
You
get in the line. Go get in the prayer line.
you you better go pray. You better go drop on your knees. You better go take it to God because because you're not gonna take it nowhere else. And so I get a lot of clients who also had that same culture, that stating that you have a mental health issue, or stating that you're feeling depressed, or stating that you having some form of anxiety, or even experience
Mm,
some form of trauma,
mm.
that you was kind of taught to deal with it on your own or handle it within the family or talk to the person that's in your household. And we all know that nobody in our household is equipped to talk.
I about to say last time I checked and I looked down the list of who actually had any kind of qualifications, myself excluded,
Right.
that list was zero.
Right. And then everybody is, not everybody, but a lot of people in our black and brown community is under the impression that if you voice that you have something going on mentally, that you're crazy.
Oh yeah.
And and that's kind of like the stigma that's been put out there, like, oh, if I state that I'm feeling depressed, or if I state that I'm having anxiety issues, or I'm feeling anxious, or I'm dealing with some trauma, or I'm dealing with PTSD or anything like that, it's been like frowned upon, or people think, oh, if you go talk to somebody, you're crazy. And that most definitely is not true. And that stigma and those thoughts have to be broken. And
Hmm.
it actually starts with us. It actually starts with us,
Right
because
here.
a lot of black people, like some of them, they even scared and don't even want to come to the doctor for their physical health.
Oh, I
So
have definitely seen that.
let alone their mental health, because a lot of providers, especially as growing up, we didn't see a lot of black providers.
Exactly.
We
That was
did.
one of the things I heard someone say. Like, it's a little bit better now than what like our
Hmm.
parents went through. But even still, I just went to go look up for a new primary care and I was looking at the list and looking at the pictures and going, huh. Interesting. I don't see myself in over 90% of this list here. Not even close. You don't look like me. We not from the same area. We not even from the same country. So that definitely plays a part, especially when you start thinking about chronic illnesses and stuff. Like you want
Mhm.
someone that's actually going to listen. And I know a lot of people, myself included, we have had a bad history with the medical field, always having a fight to prove that something really is wrong with us or being
Mhm.
seen as too well versed. So I
Mhm.
literally had someone tell me, you described it a little bit too well. And I said, I've been a caseworker for the last 10 years. What do you mean I described it too well? I did what you told me to do. I wrote down my notes with the timestamp, and you're telling me that I follow directions too well, so I got to be making it up. Okay, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this got to be a joke. This has got to be a joke. So as a result, I got diagnosed with lupus years later after dealing with the effects.
Mm.
The irony.
A
So I know
lot
a
of
lot of people deal with that.
yeah, a lot of people deal with the systemic racism, the discrimination, just historical injustices has just created like a deep mistrust in the healthcare systems. Many Black individuals fear of being misunderstood,
Hmm.
misdiagnosed or dismissed, or you're not really having those symptoms as if this is not my body and I don't know what's going on with my body better than anybody else, right? So these experiences, that our parents and grandparents, went through kind of started like some generational trauma and
Hmm.
avoidance of healthcare providers and avoidance of mental health issues because it always take them to a point where it becomes unbearable.
Hmm.
And I fought some of the that's why I'm so happy and so blessed. And one of the reasons why I started the White Coats and Real Talk
Hmm.
podcast is because a lot you now you're seeing more Black providers.
Yes.
And a lot of Black providers are undervalued, underrepresented, and that's one of the reasons I want to kind of highlight that on my podcast, and so other people can see, yes, it's us out here too, it's us that care for you too, it's us that want to educate you on a lot of
Hmm.
things that you're not being educated about so you can better guide the way you want to gear to your health, right?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons why I went into practice myself, because I was working for a lot of companies, and as a healthcare provider, they just treated patients like numbers and not like real
It's just
humans.
another dollar sign. And that's exactly
Exactly.
what we say. I'm not going to
It
add to your bank. I'm not going
no,
to add to
no.
your problems. Or as my
No.
mom just told me, she said her biggest issue was remembering the Tuskegee experiments. And I was just like, Mom, it's 2025. And she goes, and all I could do was just look back at her. She was like, you think they're not doing that still? So it's definitely like what you said with the seeing us, the
Mhm.
trusting, being able to be like, at
Yes.
least this person will possibly understand more.
Right. Mhm.
I definitely get it. So you did mention like why you got into this. So I'm gonna go ahead and let ladies and gentlemen know. Not only is she an expert in her field and she did this because she wanted to be able to help the community, but also she is having her third annual Women in Healthcare Power Brunch. I'm just saying I am jealous that I am in Maryland and I cannot get over there. I'm just finding out. But for everybody else in your area, please explain to everybody else what this is because this sounds amazing.
So this is my third year, and last year it was sold out. So what I like to do is to um get people in the healthcare field, and not necessarily just doctors and nurse practitioners, but therapists, pharmacists, you
Nice,
know,
nice.
anybody in the healthcare field where us people as a community, we come together because we stronger together. So during my healthcare power brunch, I offer a lot of knowledge. I give out a lot of resources. I also have other people come in and provide resources like on financial wealth, building wealth, um, on entrepreneurship,
Mm,
innovation, leadership, and influence, and how our representation matters. How when we step in the room, we own the room, you know
absolutely.
um just really walking into Black excellence and exuding that, and being the example for our youth, so they can see that, so they can be inspired, so they
Absolutely.
can be empowered. So I have a lot of healthcare professionals come, students. I even have people that's not in the healthcare field that come to my Women in Healthcare Power Brunch. That's how powerful my events be. It's just not
Absolutely.
one of those typicals, oh, it's just a networking event. Oh, and then they don't really know. I get very intimate. You gonna know me.
So for those that were like, can we do this online? No. So next
So
year we're just gonna figure out how to all get on the bus and go together because we can't do this online.
yes,
There's no webcam. We got to be there in person for the one-on-one experience.
absolutely. I got to be able to touch. I got to be able to touch you, talk to you face to face. Yes.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
got that. You know what? Just that alone, I know with being on the mental health side. So for those who are not familiar with me, I'm on the mental health side of things, and I actually got into mental health from what I went through as a kid. So I went through what I now know as like a generational domestic violence. It happened to me because it happened to my dad, and it happened to him, and it probably happened, and it happened, and no one talked about it. I literally grew up hearing what happens in the house stays in the house, and I
Mm,
remember saying that till I was like 20, until someone turned around and said, "Excuse you? No, we don't do that." And I was ready to fight them, not realizing that they were the help that I had been begging and crying for, and here they are. They said that one trigger phrase, and that was it. And they were looking at me like, bro, you are not Miss Seeley. Why are you acting like you can't have a conversation about what happened? I was genuinely terrified to open my mouth. And to
mm,
answer one question, someone that I know people be like, well, why don't y'all say anything? I really thought as a kid, if I open my mouth, that it's just going to send like a CPS or it was going to ruin my whole entire world.
mhm,
Especially, like if your abuser's your breadwinner and whatnot. And it puts so much unnecessary pressure on a kid already going through stuff. And so it wasn't until I end up having children myself and end up realizing that I wanted to be the best person that I actually started going into psychology. And I realized everything psychology told me to do was the opposite of what I was told to do as a kid. Literally, it was like you see it, acknowledge it, talk about it. Black folks were like, act like it didn't happen, go pray about it. And if it still hurts, you didn't pray hard enough. And if you opened your mouth and told somebody else, or if they figured it out, at worst come to worst, somebody please say I'm not the only one. You got into a all prayer night session where they tried to pray the demons out of you. It was a
mm,
demon. It was never a diagnosis. Don't say you were depressed, what you got to be depressed about. Don't say you were anxious. Everything was something other than medical that can be treated. And it's interesting when you look at how many people of color, like you said, have depression, PTSD, and
mhm.
anxiety, or worse, all of the above. And we're not even talking about the ladies and women that are in the military that have to come
Right.
home from it. And that was the irony. My dad was a military vet, and like it took him years. It wasn't until he was forced to go into counseling that he started being able to undo some of the things. But again, he was court ordered to do that. That black man was not going to do that if he had a chance on his own. And it's sad to see why we still have like so many things available, like Medicaid. A lot of people don't know you can go see a therapist for
Yes.
free. You got a
Mhm.
45-minute window, no copay, telehealth, or some of these free screenings. People be thinking that it's a trap. I literally see companies having leftover, gift cards. Like, what do we do with this? We can only do this with a function like this, and people don't have the resources, or they don't believe it's there. So there's definitely like on my side of things how I've seen that. um, a lot of
So
us either don't know or we're too scared to say something.
you're absolutely right. So, what role does faith and spirituality play in the delay of seeking professional mental health help?
I have the answer. I was waiting for this. All right, my mentor gonna be proud. My mentor gonna be proud. So because I asked the question, right? PK, being a preacher's kid, I was curious. Like, I don't want God to feel like I'm playing with him.
Mm,
I don't know if anyone's ever heard the phrase, um, Jesus is my doctor, right? And you go to pray and whatnot, and if you're going through surgery, they would say, Jesus, lay hands or work through the doctor. And then I realized when somebody would say, Jesus gave us doctors, Jesus gave us surgeons, Jesus gave us therapists. If we can believe that God gave us all the gifts for fire and electricity, what makes you think God didn't send you to that doctor? What makes you think that God's not in that therapist? And as we started seeing more medical or mental health providers that were growing up in the church, we definitely saw that faith versus man-made medicine. And it was realizing that not everything is like an Old Testament curse. You weren't given this disease or whatever because you did something bad or your mom and dad did something bad. Sometimes you realize that it's like a gift within a curse. Like
Mhm.
lupus was not something you would have called a blessing back in the day. But now I consider it a blessing because it's opened my eyes to my stress levels, how I manage stress, what I do and do not eat, who I was and was not around. I will say I deal with a lot less foolishness because I can't afford the flare up. I'm more aware and more conscious. Now I'm not that doesn't mean that I don't pray and I don't scream out like when I'm in pain or whatever, but it's a mixture of both. You have to do the works. Like what is it saying? Faith without works is dead. So
Mhm.
yes, I'm gonna pray. Yes, I'm gonna give it to God. But I also have to go to my appointment, and I also need to listen to the
Right.
doctor when they tell me don't eat this, don't eat that. Like that's like your grandma that knows she has diabetes and blood pressure. She over there popping Skittles. Why she making this caramel cake from scratch with the whole entire bottle of sugar? Like grandma, you know better. I'm gonna just give it to God. God touched. Really, you don't see like some of us we do the absolute most.
That
And that's
is
God literally
because,
sending
yeah,
somebody to remind you.
look, I'm gonna
So
give it to God. That is because faith and spirituality are strong pillars in the Black community.
really
Like
big,
the
really
belief that
big.
like seeking therapy, a lot of people think that that kind of shows a lack of faith. You
They
know,
do. They do. They
yeah,
they do.
but
I am the
they
last
just
person
like,
that they
I
want to
do
come
prayer,
to.
I go to church, I do prayer, I do the pastoral counseling. Um, I have faith, but providing hope and resilience for some individuals, they rely on the spiritual coping, but also you need more than that. You
The
you
irony is
need more
back
than
in the
that.
day, your doctor and your person of faith was often the same people in different cultures. Like when I started seeing that, I was just like, where did we get away from using both parts of okay, we came we came to like the woman of or man of God, and then we went and did the practical stuff that they said to do. Somewhere along the way, we broke away from that. We just stuck to the spiritual part of it, forgetting to do the practical things. Um, and it's 2025, and some of us are still forgetting to add both parts
Hmm.
to it. I guess
Hmm.
it's especially hard when things don't necessarily go the way that you would think it, especially if you did everything that you knew to do. I know that's when it really gets hard with the faith part and even some of the practical because you got days where you're like, I'm tired. I'm tired of taking 8 different medications. I'm tired of eating right. I just want to act up. Just give me one day.
Just one time, just one time. Just let it out. Just let me let it out.
Just
So
once.
how do you think social economic factors contribute to ignoring mental health?
Big time. Big time. One, because of your finances definitely can determine your health. And this is what I mean by it. It costs money to be healthy, not just, your alone from your prescriptions, right? So say you have Medicaid, Medicare, or you have like a low bar insurance that you're already paying for. You're already paying for insurance, so you're mad about that. You may or may not have a copay. Your medicine may or may not have to be paid for. That right there. The more money you can spend in your insurance, the better care you get. So you may unfortunately not get a physician that cares about you or is really going to pay attention or even check to make sure those two different prescriptions aren't conflicting. But then also when they tell you to eat healthy, I mean, me and my friends got to run and joke. You're going to prescribe me food stamps? You telling me to eat healthy? You telling me to let out gluten? Have you ever went shopping gluten free? Have you ever looked at how much that costs? Do you know sometimes you got to hit two different stores? And if I am in a low economic area, I may or may not have my own transportation. I
Hmm.
may or may not be very close to a supermarket that has all that. Sometimes you just get it how you live. And in this day and age, unfortunately, a lot of people are surviving off of food pantries or what's given to them.
Hmm.
It's not always, the top tier. Like when you buy that clearance sale meat, You got like 2 days to eat
Today.
it. Just being honest. Or, it's easier to go get a bag of chips or to go to Burger King or
Yeah.
Wendy's or something and do
Mhm.
that 4 for 4 versus spending $20. Again, have you ever tried to eat gluten free at a restaurant? It's expensive. It's not fun, to
Eh,
say the least, by
yeah.
yourself. So that
Right.
definitely has a lot to do with it. Or like you
Yeah.
said, with the workshops that you teach, some of us weren't taught to really care about what we put in our bodies.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
or we weren't in the areas until we were like, I know some friends, they didn't know what gluten free was like till they were 20 something. I had parents in the
Mhm.
household that
Me
actually
too.
cared about that, but even still, we used to drive for an hour to go to the farmers market.
Mm. Really?
Nobody finna do that in this day and age. Drive an
No, they
hour to
not.
go to fresh
Because
market. You kidding me?
a lot of people, they don't have the funds like that. They don't have the finances like that. So they prioritize their survival needs, rent, food, over their well-being, physical
Oh
and
yeah.
mental. Physical and mental. So those are some things that, people gotta, think about too as well. But now, it's places where you get free therapy,
Yep.
where you can get free therapy. So it's like no more excuses. No more excuses.
I be telling people, I was like, it's free. You can do it on
Right.
your phone. I promise you, it's not a joke. I'll help you set it up. They be like, they're gonna pick it for me. No, you get to pick your own person now. And if
Yes.
you don't like him or her, you can go change them for free.
Change. Hmm.
A lot of
Hmm.
people, I don't. Outside of that, then it just becomes I know what I've seen and what I've dealt with is me dealing with therapy. I had to admit that just because I was taught one thing doesn't mean I can't do another. And by
Hmm.
breaking the trend and the cycle to go get help, it wasn't so much me saying the people that came before me were so incorrect or so wrong. It wasn't me being disrespectful towards them. It was saying you did the best that you could then and with what you had, and now I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of what I have. Because people sometimes see, breaking a curse or a generational tradition as disrespectful to those that have come before. And it's like it's not disrespect. That's all they had. They couldn't go to anybody. Back then the system was completely against them. They didn't know how to work it, or they didn't know the right things, or maybe they saw that one bad thing that happened and now the whole entire culture thinks that. But
Right.
now we have different avenues, especially when you start seeing people that look like you of your own culture. Like I definitely understand that. I know I have some friends, they'd be like, if they ain't black, I ain't talking to them. I understand that completely. I do. But you can't use that as an excuse anymore because now we have access to each
Right.
other.
Hmm.
We don't have to live in the same city or state. You can go find somebody somewhere else and talk to them without worrying about Sister Jones running information back at church on Wednesday night service. That was another thing I realized. People are very worried about being honest what's going on. They don't want their medical information or their darkest secrets being the latest gossip out there. That's definitely another thing that stops people. But yeah, find that HIPAA violation, baby. Hit them with that HIPAA
I
rights.
know, right? Because patient confidentiality, that's no joke. That is no joke. Um, and that's serious. That's very serious. But you know what? I had a client who was like they only want to see a black therapist, which I completely understand because you want somebody that's relatable.
Hmm.
She went through 3 or 4 therapists, black therapists, and could not find someone that
Just
was a
that when it
fit for
clicked.
her. Yes. But then I actually said, I said, well, are you open to try a therapist of a different background, different
Hmm.
ethnic group? I said, because they might have a different perspective.
Hmm.
Um, and she did, and she loved it.
I know, right?
She loved it. She loved it. Which goes to show, sometimes sometimes you gotta be a little open-minded.
You will
Sometimes
be shocked because the stuff that you and I would say like you go say that to them, they'd be like, baby, that's trauma. I was like, that's
right.
trauma. Baby, that's what we laugh over at happy hour. And she was just staring at me like, no. I was like, oh, is that bad? She's like, what else do you joke around with? And I was like, uh-oh. She was like, that's not good. I was like, oh, so it definitely helps to have somebody sometimes from not the same community or culture to
Hmm.
realize
To point some things out. Because sometimes we laugh from crying. So that's how we kind of cope with things. We just start laughing. Like,
we laugh at ourselves. Like
yes.
I said, I make jokes all the time and then turn around and get the look like that's not funny. And I'd be like,
Right.
oops, I need to go to counseling. You're right. Let me go write that down. But I think that's also like one of the ways we've been able to, I guess, break the stigma, like not just talking about it, but now back in comedy or even TV, I never heard black people talk about going to the doctor as much as I hear it now. Now it's in every episode, everything you can think of. You can't even go to a comedy show without somebody talking about mental health, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, so at least
Hmm.
it's being talked about more openly. Um, Sometimes people see it as a flex. I never thought I'd see the day somebody was like, I got a therapist. And I was like,
Oh, yeah. I hear that a lot
20
now.
years ago, we
Yeah.
would have looked at you
Mhm.
like you lost your mind. But all right.
Uh-huh. They're like, I got a therapist. I got to meet my therapist. Me and my therapist, we meet every week. I even say therapist. They be like, I'm a therapist, but I got me a therapist.
They're like, girl, let me text my therapist. I was like, wait, what? Y'all on terms? Like, that's not good, but okay. That's
So
definitely a good thing.
what do you think us as black women, how can we like encourage our black and brown community to seek mental health sooner than later?
It definitely comes from teaching. It says I say to do it as early as we would teach our kids ABCs. The same time that we are explaining ABCs and one, two, threes, and this is my no square, it's the same time that we start explaining mental health. And maybe not saying mental health, but
Mhm.
just get in the habit of checking your own mental health. Become comfortable with the word and maybe let me take the phrase mental health out. Ask yourself how you doing. Is this a good day? Is it a bad day? Let's do an inventory. Like how you do your inventory. I'm able to stretch. Am I cracking bones today or am I getting up with no problem? Like where's my head at? And the same way that you would do a mental or a physical check throughout the day, do a check. If you it really starts with home and also doing that with your
Mhm.
kids.
Yes, yes,
I am grateful that my kids
yes.
check me. My kids check me like, you're not there right now. We can see it. But that comes from them. I used to actually drag them to my classes with me when they were younger. So they got in the habit of being aware of their emotions, good, bad, and indifferent, and being able to pay attention to other people's emotions and listen. It definitely takes that in the house and then sharing it everywhere. Like that really needs to be a big part of school. Not just, oh, let's wait till they're in sixth grade. No, we need to do that every day. And I have seen some of that with some of the new children's shows. Daniel's Neighborhood, they start doing, emotional checks like, I don't feel so great today. And
Mhm.
just telling people to the point we believe it's okay not to be okay. There's some days you're not going to be okay. And then sometimes you don't know what the feeling is. You just know you don't like it. And being able to tell somebody when they ask you, hey girl, how you doing? Let's stop lying. Be like, hey girl, I'm good. I'm blessed and highly favored in the Lord and everything else.
Blessed and
Sorry,
highly
Auntie.
favored.
Like, nah, bro, I ain't here today. That was something,
Right.
especially living down south. We'd be like, oh, I'm good. How you doing? Bruh, I'm lying. I just got done crying. My eyes are red. Why are we playing each other? Like you didn't just hear me boo-hoo for 5 minutes off a break. Like, let's be honest and have that strength to be like, I ain't feeling it today.
Hmm.
And
You're
giving people
absolutely
that
right.
space to talk about it.
Let's
Maybe I
talk
want to
about
talk
it.
about it right now, and maybe I don't. But just being able to know that you can be honest with
Hmm.
not being okay and having people, that respect that. But that, like I said, that definitely starts in the home, and that just needs to be as simple as brushing your teeth. Like you need to be like, it just needs to be on that same level. And I think the more that we get into that, especially with the younger generation, we'll really be getting to deal with it better because you can have everything physically right and let your mind be messed up and it'll affect everything else.
Yes, it
Or
will.
If your money is messed up, now you're stressed. Like that's the irony. That's why I was like, oh, I'm so glad she does the entrepreneurship and the financial wealth, because there's a thing of financial health. Like when your
Mhm.
financial health is low, you're not really able to work on too much other until
No.
you get that fix. It's not just like, it's very much like different parts of the body. You got to have everything at a certain level to really function. I don't care how much money or how great you look. If one thing is off, it's going to affect everything else eventually. So definitely start at home as young as ABC, and we're
Yes.
good.
That mindset is powerful. That affects a
Absolutely.
lot of things. A lot of things in life. And yes, it does. It really does start at home. Because I know when I was younger in the household, if I say something wrong with me, girl, go sit down somewhere. Like go like go sit down somewhere. And nowadays you do have to ask these because it's a lot going on nowadays, and especially with kids. A simple, hey, how you doing? How was school today? How you feeling today? Just asking, those particular questions. Are do you feel emotionally okay? Did
Hmm.
anything transpire that you did not like today? Like, it's okay to ask those questions, but a lot of kids in their environment, they don't get asked those questions.
And if they
So
do,
it
it's
just
very
builds up.
facetious. It's
Hmm.
it's very just for the words. And you're right with the build up. Like in the build up out of nowhere, especially the idea that there are kids they don't go through nothing.
Right.
We've got to stop that idea. That just because they ain't paying bills, they ain't got nothing to worry about. And I thought I was in touch with that until I saw some training, right? So I
Hmm.
was like, all right, I'm gonna apply this training when I get home. Let me see what happened. And when I tell you them kids gave me an earful and all I could do was just stare, like that's that's a lot. That's a lot. All that happened today. Oh, okay. We need to unpack this, and just
Hmm.
giving them that space to talk about it, or even I know as parents, we want them to feel safe with us, and that's great. But sometimes it's uncomfortable to tell your mom and dad something. So being able to go talk to somebody else, because unfortunately, that's how grooming starts. That's how they get into it, because the first thing they say is, "Well, I felt safe there, and I could talk to them." So that's when I ran to them, and it gets manipulated, unfortunately, from there. And once I realized that's how predators get in, we've got to give our kids a safe place. We've got to grin and bear it, because they're gonna say some
Hmm.
things that make you go, "What the heck was that?" But you just gotta sit there and grin and bear it and not freak out. And I'm the mom that will sit there and text their aunts like, "Hey, yo, did you hear that? Okay, when we get done with this conversation, we got to go out so I can explain to you what happened." And just, or even having a space for the kids to come to together
Hmm.
so they can feel like it's not just them that are
Yeah.
going through it.
Open
Definitely help.
conversations is very healthy for the mental well-being. Open conversations. But again, like you say, it starts at home because the child has to be comfortable with talking to you.
Hmm.
They have to feel like this is a safe space for me to dump all this that I have in my
Oh
mind,
yeah.
out, without being judged, without being, without somebody dismissing what they're
Hmm.
saying or making what they're saying is not like an actual reality for them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's a
that
lot that
that's the
teens
biggest thing.
teens go through. I deal with teens a lot. I actually have a non-for-profit called Angels Helping Hands,
Nice.
which I mentor the youth. So I do a lot of things with the youth. I do a lot of things with different schools, um, just to create that safe space for them to open up. And trust me, they be opening up.
Oh yeah, because once a kid opens up, that's it. That's all I need. That's
Yeah.
why I said you got to grin and bear it. At some point, you're just gonna be like, "What did you say?"
What
Never
did you
mind.
say? Like, just but you
That
thinking in
that
your head
is
like,
that
oh
is my
my.
warning. That is my warning to caregivers.
Yeah. But that also puts you in a position to where you can help,
Hmm.
where you
Because
can
you
help
can't
a
help
child.
until you know what the
Exactly
issue
what
is.
the issue is. You are absolutely right. You are
Yeah, the
absolutely right.
mentorships. If I know some people are not fortunate to have mentorships, so I guess someone's going to be like, "Well, where do I go?" Right. So if you're not located where either one of us are, because I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, and fortunately, as all the crazy stuff you heard about Baltimore, it's not true. It doesn't look like The Wire, I promise. Don't ask me that. But we have a lot of networks, a lot of organizations here that people are unaware of. Use that phone in your hand, hit that Google. And if nothing
Hmm.
else, if you see the need for something in your community, fill that need yourself. That's what I did. I realized I didn't have a safe place and I realized other people didn't. So I became determined to become that safe place, not just for myself and my family, but for other people. And then realizing like sometimes you have to do it yourself. There's a reason why it's gnawing at you nonstop. Like Dr. White said, like she saw a need in the community and she did it herself. And you don't have to know what you're doing. You can have not the slightest idea. You could just have this idea. And sometimes that's all you need is that idea, that willingness. Matter of fact, go find a power brunch. Go find a workshop. Go look it up. I promise you, it's there. You will be shocked to find it, or you'll see other like-minded people with you. Because I know that is something really hard, depending on where you live. I don't care if you live in the city or the country. Sometimes it's really hard to know who to go to, and then
Hmm.
that can also be a thing. Like I don't know who to go run to. At bare minimum, I know go to that where it says safe place. You see that little sign that says safe place, all but as fast as you can over there and call 911. And now we do have, you can text 988. Thank God. We did not have that back in the day.
No,
There
we
was
did
no
not.
text 98. We just hauled behind to the firehouse or to the police department and hope nobody
Mhm.
recognized us at that point, being honest. But now you can do things without being called out and you can get clarity. I think that's
Mhm.
another thing. I don't think people really believe that the resources are there.
Right.
Sometimes they see it, but they're like, is this pretend? I think that's another thing that kind of stops us from getting help because we're not sure if it's real.
Real,
Or
or
we
if
were
it's a
told
catch
no
to it.
once. Yeah, like, oh, so what do I gotta do? Who I gotta sell
Hmm.
out or what information am I giving? Which is sad because it's 2025 and we've had 988, nine, what, how many years we done had that thing? I think like five,
For
four or 5 years.
quite a few years.
And people
Quite
still
a
don't
few
use it.
years, and still don't use it. And then I think a lot of people is don't want to be judged. They feel like they're gonna be judged. They feel like they're gonna be judged if they be open and honest about their true feelings. And even sometimes when people even come in for physical health, mental health,
Mm.
they still downplay it until they feel like they can trust you. Until you get them to trust you and open up.
Because
You
they
be
don't
like, now
like your
that's not
doctor
what you
asking you
said on the
questions
first
and you know
visit.
you
Like
lying.
they be like, oh, Dr. Angel, this is this, that. I'm like, okay, all right. I had to feel you out first. I had
Yeah, I've done
to.
that. I'm not, that's why I had to point at myself. I'd never forget being 20 years old, lying in that doctor's office, and that doctor looking at me like, you sure there's nothing you want to talk about? And me going, like, nah, lying. Mess myself up. I probably could have had a lot things go completely different if I just would have been honest.
Just
Please,
told the
somebody
truth.
learn from my mistake. Please don't go in that doctor's office lying because your body tells everything. I don't care how embarrassing it seems. Like, please just be honest about your
Yeah,
background, let
but
alone your family history.
it's also the provider setting the tone too as well. You coming there and you being pleasant, you being and then letting them know what the expectation is up front and letting them know like, everything that we discuss in here is between me and you. This is not gonna go outside or
Hmm.
somewhere else, so you can be open and honest so I can provide the best care for you. So it's really setting the tone for your patients when you come in,
Hmm.
because they gonna look and be like, okay, let me see what she about. Let me see what she
It's on both ends. I'm gonna be honest. And for people like, is it like that with mental health? Yes, baby. Because I've seen people come
Yes.
in my office and I just be like, okay. You get that, you get that file and you just start looking like, oh, okay, so this is what's going on. It definitely takes that building rapport. It takes
Yes.
sometimes. So please don't make it harder for each other than what it
Right.
needs to be on both ends. Sometimes we really do make it hard. We really do. Sometimes we make it hard on both ends. Had somebody remind me, you never know what that person is going through. Just like they don't
You
know what
don't.
your day was like before you were able to
Mhm.
get in this office, you have no idea what they went through. And sometimes that idea that I'm going through so much, they think that no one either can understand what they're going
Mhm.
through or would actually take it into account. Because sometimes people just venting, that was more helpful than what was in their chart. Way more helpful. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
I wish you would have opened your mouth 3 days ago. I could have fixed all this. How'd you fix it? He cussed me out, but in the middle of him cussing out, I figured out what he needed. He mad because he hungry. He could have got food stamps. See, we solved all that in 30 minutes. Here you go, sir. Go down to the office. Like we solved all that. So it definitely comes with a bit of like push and pull with it, with the breaking the stigmas. But I would like to say it definitely takes, you have to have the desire.
Yeah, you
You
do.
got to have a desire
Mhm.
to want to be better and realize some days it's gonna feel like you're on top of the world, and some days it's not. And you could be doing the same thing. I could do the same thing over and over again, and then tomorrow it'd be like, gotcha. That's at no fault to your own medical, physical, mental, emotional. It definitely just helps to be able to say, I don't like it. And sometimes just saying, I don't like it, be admitting your feelings. Because acting like you are on top of the world, that's why I make so many jokes about that. I'm blessed and highly favored. I ain't saying I ain't blessed and highly favored, but we ain't gonna act like everything's peaches and cream because you start lying to yourself. And then you set that precedent for other people to think that everything's okay and not pay attention to the signs. Because sometimes our family and our friends are the first ones to notice something's
Mhm.
off before we do. But if we shrug them off like, nah, girl, I got it. I'm superwoman. They like, okay. So don't definitely don't start that.
I had a
Don't start
client
that either.
I had a client text me and say, Dr. Angel, like you always happy. And I said, little do you know, I be praying and cussing.
That's me.
I'm
That
like,
is
cause
I.
life be life, but I enjoy what I do. So despite what I have going on, I still try to, come and still have a smile and enjoy and be good, for you all people. But after that, I be like, some days
Oh
I be
yeah.
like, Lord Jesus.
Girl, my favorite doctor when she retired, Lord Jesus, Dr. Reddix. I loved her because she was bad. She was serious. I just knew she had to put it together. She said, girl, you know how many times I done cussed? I was like, wait, what? You're a preacher. She said, and? I was like, oh, okay. I finally told her everything that was going on. She said, I was waiting for you to tell me. I've been figured it out. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, it was all over you, but we couldn't officially put it down till you opened your mouth. That's who really taught me the faith, the spiritual side and the man-made side of it. She was like, no, we're gonna. I guess the other thing, people aren't aware of vitamins and stuff. So again, opening your mouth, like you ain't gotta take a whole bunch of man-made medicine sometimes. Sometimes you need to
Mm-mm.
boost your minerals. Like I know I
Mhm.
learned that the hard way. I was like, oh, I'm that deficient. Oh, I should go eat this. They were like, yeah, you
Yeah.
should. You feel
And
better. I
see,
was like,
and,
oops.
and that is so true. And then a lot of people, that's why a lot of my patients are crazy about me. I'm not a pill pusher. I'm not a pill pusher.
Y'all hear that?
When you
I'm
come
not the
in
only
here
one that says that.
and okay, your blood pressure elevated and things like that. Oh, I'm gonna start you on this blood pressure. No, we're not. Now we're gonna talk about your lifestyle. We're gonna talk about your eating habits. We're gonna
Hmm.
talk about a lot of those things when I discuss, they be like, I ain't never know that. Or I ain't know it. And I was doing that, it was causing that. Like what?
We
So we're
are
gonna do lifestyle
notorious for that.
changes first. I'm not finna just throw
We
you on
are
no.
notorious as Black
Yes.
people.
Yes.
That means put the salt down. Stop putting the salt on the
Mhm.
greens and
But a lot of Black people is not really aware or knowledgeable about how this really can affect your health.
hmm
And then seeing it growing up, like when I was growing up, we was eating burgers and all type of stuff, soul food. You know what I'm saying? We was eating
we
all
were still cooking with lard with
okay,
with
all the stuff that
chicken.
you know our heart can't take these
Hey yo, we had a whole thing of Crisco lard in my house, and that, hindsight, I'm like, that's disgusting.
drinking pop all the time. I mean, just but that was the culture. That's how we grew up. Mama had to make it work for everybody.
That's how we bonded, unfortunately.
Yeah, it
That movie,
was.
what was it? So whatever that movie was where they all ate and then the mother got sick.
Soul food. It was called soul food because everybody
Soul
bonded
food
over
is what
soul
killed her.
food.
Soul food is what killed her. That's what it made no sense. I was like, we
Yeah, all
definitely
that
have to eat healthier.
cholesterol build up in your heart and you have a heart attack, bro. But a lot of people don't know. They literally don't know. And a lot of people like nobody never told me that. Or somebody I went to this provider and they just said, "Oh, you got high blood pressure, put me on this." And I ain't
Hmm.
taking that medication because I don't even know, like a lot of people just don't know. So I really pride myself in really educating my patients. I don't rush my patients. Like you come to see me, we having a little lengthy visit. We having a little lengthy visit because I want
Yeah,
to get to know you. I want to talk to you. I want to educate you. I want to see, what that mindset is like.
yeah.
Because
That's
it's
that's definitely
yeah, yeah.
that's
That's
definitely
really
a
important.
huge thing because we're so quick to want to leave the doctor's office. I gotta get back to work. I gotta get back to school. The
Hmm.
doctor must look. You just need to go ahead and say, look, I'm gonna use this whole PTO hour or two that y'all gave me because if I was to drop dead today, you might not even notice that I'm dead, and you just gonna turn around and create a
Hire
whole nother
somebody
job
else.
posting. I don't know anybody else saw that article. I was like, what do you mean they were dead at the cubicle hours and y'all didn't notice? I was like, wow. And it really does come to like what you said. I love that you said it does not always so much pop in man-made medicine. Sometimes that you got to change your diet, add something,
Hmm.
or take something out. And a lot of times people, if you just did that alone, you would have a huge difference. Whether
Hmm.
you have an underlying condition or not. I know some people will be like, yeah, right, Grace. No, I promise you like the bottles I have now, over half of them bottles are just vitamins. And yes, it
Hmm.
is a huge difference. No, it wasn't overnight, but gradually. I didn't get there overnight. So I wasn't going to graduate. I wasn't instantly going to feel better overnight, but it's definitely a huge difference. But the same way we like spending money on our hair, nails, and lashes and shoes, I'm gonna need y'all to slide some money over there to the
Okay, on the
slab for them
food, because
vitamins.
if people don't know, food is medicine. That is medicine. Okay, food is medicine. The good can do you good, bad can do you bad. Like
I'm
it's
glad
all
she
it's all
said it.
about them choices.
It definitely does. Let me see. So,
Yes.
the other last thing before we go, um, I don't know if anyone knows this, but we had a few, what do you call it, awarenesses. So we have, well, domestic violence. A lot. October people think about breast cancer, right? The
Hmm.
screenings
Yes.
definitely get for that, but we have domestic violence awareness as
Hmm.
well. And then what Dr. Angel was telling me, actually Friday is World Mental Illness Day. And this
Hmm.
whole week is Mental Illness Week, which means you could probably get some free screenings
Oh yeah,
regardless.
I'm giving out free screenings. So if you in the Chicago Lane area,
Mhm.
all you gotta
See,
do is Google me. I am giving out free mental health screenings and free breast examinations for the month of October. Yes.
see two for the price of one. Look at that. See, and both are free. Can't say I ain't healthy because we love free over here. And for people who don't live in the area, I have lived by this for years. Go to NAMI, NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illnesses. They are, if not in every county, every major county or city,
Mhm.
they will connect you to free appointments, screenings, mental health, and physical health as well. And if they don't have it, they will connect you to a local place. But definitely, what do you call it? Your health departments. That's the word.
Mhm.
Contact your local health departments. Now's the time to get them free screenings. I get it because sometimes, depending on what your copay is, ain't nobody got time to shuck out no $50 to $100 every time. But let's go ahead and utilize it now while we got it. And it's something serious when they make it a World Mental Illness Day. That one tripped me
Yes.
out. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie, that's something. And with everything going on in this world, yeah, and it's not just for us adults. Please take the kids. Please
Oh
take the
yes,
kids because having
absolutely.
cats and dogs is cute, but they can't fix everything. Just saying. Somebody's gonna be like, "That's what my emotional animals for." Go get checked out.
Go get checked out. You heard what she
See,
said.
we both saying it. Go get
Go get
checked
checked
out.
out. Most definitely. Most definitely. And
I
don't be
think we
scared.
hit it.
Don't be scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that. You can be scared to still do it. Okay, we not on that side. I am a queen for being. I'm scared as hell, but I'm still gonna do it. Like
Still gonna do
it's
it.
nerve wracking. I'm not gonna act like it's gonna be easy. I don't care how nice that office is. You still gonna be staring, trying to figure out. Look, be scared and still do it. Okay.
Well,
I
you
don't know what
heard her.
scripture you need to find. Go
Look.
forth, be with God. Look, do it anyway. I
Yeah,
don't care if
do it
nobody
scared.
else is
Do
doing
it
it.
scared. Scared or unscared, just do it.
Please, because I rather we rather help you figure it out or hear you talk about it than to have one more senseless death or one more preventable heart attack or condition. Because a lot of things sometimes we could really avoid them. That
Mhm.
doesn't that does unfortunately involve some of us talking to our family. Please be aware of your family medical history. If you don't believe me, just ask her. Please be aware of what's going on with your
Please be
with me,
aware of your
because
ask questions.
yeah,
Ask. Because that was another thing that wasn't really taught in the culture to be asking about people health stuff. Yeah, but ask. It's
yeah, I don't.
2025.
Especially when you start being like, "Oh, I'm in love with him or her." Yo, you need to know what their medical history is because something happened. We just sitting here looking crazy with 911. But you know what? If y'all didn't get anything from this, please go check out her page. And it's White Coats.
Yeah, white coats underscore real talk underscore podcast.
Look, and we're both on the Live Podcast Network, which is
Yes,
free to download. I know y'all like free. And I know this is coming out now on everything. Google TV, Apple TV. We are there. So go ahead and download the app. Go ahead and download both, well, subscribe to both of us and keep updated. But
yes.
anything else, Dr. Angel?
Get your mental health screenings and
What
your
she said.
physical health screenings too.
What she said. Let's go ahead and get this. If we don't do nothing else by the end of October, make sure
Yes.
you at least made your appointment. Please use that insurance that you're paying for.
Use it up. Okay. Like,
Other than that, we out.
we out.
We out.